Hi, Aman. Hi, Gaurav. Am I audible?
Hi,
You could put off the music for some time. I could test my audio.
sure.
Hello, Ms. Prabhu. Very good evening.
Good evening. Am I audible?
Yes,
Clear?
you are audible, but the voice is slightly echoing.
Is it echoing? Okay, just a minute, please.
Ms. Prabhu, I believe you're on mute. Yeah,
Yes. So is it better now?
yeah, it's better than before. Yes.
Is it still echoing? Do you want me to speak
No,
louder
no.
or is this volume okay?
I would say the volume could go a little bit up, but it's not echoing. It's perfect in that sense.
Okay. So maybe I could move a little closer if that improves the volume quality.
Yes, now it is perfect. No echo, and the volume is perfect.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you so much for joining in advance.
No problem at all. I'm afraid I cannot put on any other background as recommended by you because of my organizational requirement. I cannot
Okay,
have any other brand that I can
completely fine, Ms. Prabhu.
be in front
Completely
of.
fine.
Yeah, I hope you understand that. Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. We'll just
And
wait
can you,
for, yeah.
sorry, so I see my name and I also see my designation at the bottom of my face. Is that how everyone sees it?
Yes.
Okay, because what I see of myself is I can only see this portion of my face. Is that how everyone will see it? I can only see like the
Your face is completely visible. Uh, yeah, your face is
okay, if
completely
it's
visible.
visible, then I'm fine with it. Okay. Okay. Good evening, Captain.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi,
Good
Captain.
evening.
Very good evening.
Yeah, I hope I'm clear enough of
Yes,
light.
yes, you are. So we'll just wait
Ah,
for 10 minutes
hi.
more, because
So,
people start joining exactly at 7. The
okay,
button through which they join, it becomes active exactly at 7 p.m.
So I see 5 attendees. Are
okay.
they from your team?
No, no. So I mean, there's Zoom link also. I mean, if they join through the link, then they can join in advance. But if they are joining through our application, then they have to click on the button and then join. So the button activates at sharp 7.
Okay, sure.
No, I think, also that uh, link share with, um,
Is it
so
just
probably
me who's
some
losing
of
your
the chat.
voice, Captain? Or okay, Captain, we are losing your voice.
Losing my voice?
Yeah, yeah, it's
Let me
breaking.
ask, let me ask Miss Prabhu.
Now it's a little better, Captain.
Okay. Let me just shift location a little bit. you hear me? Come on.
Yes, Captain. Please tell
Can you
me.
hear me?
Yes.
Am I visible? Any problems?
Captain, you are visible, but I can see, some rays
Okay.
before your face.
Okay. Okay. Just hold on. Yeah. Let me fix that. Yeah.
Yeah. Previous place was perfect that way.
Yeah. Just hold. Oh, this is bad. Okay, one sec. I don't know why that streak is coming in front of the face, right?
Exactly. That streak, that ray, is coming exactly in front of your face.
So there. Okay, it's gone now.
Yeah. Now
Streak
it's
is
gone.
gone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but just hold on.
Captain, you're on mute.
No, the Wi-Fi connection is much stronger. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, not in my office. So. Right. So we have another 5 minutes to go. Yeah.
Yes, we do have 5 minutes more to go,
Okay.
and we would be starting at sharp 7, or let's say a couple of minutes post 7.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Good evening, madam. How are you doing?
Doing very well, Captain. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, I just
Nice
got
to
back.
see you all formally dressed up. I'm afraid I'm not that formal, so I kept it a little casual, if that's okay.
I'm pretty old school.
No, I'd say you're pretty disciplined, and I think a lot of us may like that.
Yeah. So that's how I sort of want my students to be. In a
I'd agree.
sense, because I don't get this whole cool thing too much.
Neither do I that way. I'm not, please don't go by the makeup on my face, Captain. Makeup can be deceiving. I'm not that young either. And I do agree that the cool thing is still not in my DNA. But yes, I'm learning to adapt a little bit because the people that we deal with are definitely cooler than us. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'll just blank out for a couple of minutes and then I'll rejoin. Yeah.
Sure.
I think Shri Arindam is also joined, I think.
Yes. Hey, hi, Arindam.
Hi.
Hello, Arindam.
Hello, Miss Captain Nagraj.
Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening, Arindam.
Hi, Miss Vidya. I think everything is okay. I am audible. I can be heard.
Yes, you are audible.
Yes.
So,
The only glitch is I've joined from my phone. but the phone is on charge. Everything is okay. That's Aman. The thing is, the question answers, I think from your end, somebody will have to moderate, because from my phone, I don't know how I will be able to access it. 1 second.
Sure. So, whatever people are
No, I
putting
think
over
chat
here.
is there. I can always, but it's
Yeah.
a small screen, so that's why I'm not sure how I'll be able to take it out.
Sure.
Shall we go live? No, 3 minutes left.
No. So let's wait for 4 or 5 minutes more.
Okay.
Probably around 7 p.m.
Okay.
because that's the time when people start joining in from the application. We already have 24 people as of now,
Okay.
but as soon as the clock strikes 7, I'm expecting some surge in the number.
Sure.
Just play the application then. And then I think let's start. We already have 65 people, joining us, and yeah, people will keep joining. Let's start. Over to you.
Okay. Thank you, Aman. Welcome, viewers, to our yet another episode of the BSmart webinars. This webinar is particularly interesting because as part of our award case study challenge webinars that we conduct every month, this one has a special interest because pretty much across the world and in India, we are engaged in debating and discussing about jobs. And jobs, whether there's plenty of it or there's none of it, or how and where the jobs will going to come from. What are the challenges and how are we going to overcome them? For this month's case study challenge, we had an interesting topic, and it was based on a report that was shared in the media about how about a few people who were surveyed, about 85 to 90% of those people felt that gig workforce in the future will going to overshadow formal employment. So we took that subject up and we sort of tried to understand and try to go to our students to figure out what's the future, whether it's a gig workforce or it's a formal employment, or is it a hybrid? And we had an overwhelming response, out of which it was really a challenge to find the top 3, but we arrived at that. Based on that, we have come to a conclusion today, and we are holding this webinar. And to be part of this webinar, we have two esteemed guests with us. They're both very, very renowned in their field, and they have handled people. They themselves are quite distinguished. So I welcome Mrs. Vidya Prabhu to the webinar. She is the Associate Director, Global Delivery Leader of IBM Cloud Technology. She is the delivery leader for about 4,400 plus clients across the globe. As a Women Inclusion Network leader, she has pioneered and has been spearheading diverse initiatives for the last 10 years in her organization. Quite an achievement. As brand ambassador of women at Women in Technology Cloud, she has won the Samarthya Samman Award 2024. She has been a transformation leader 2024 and a global role model of the year 2023 from one of the leading media houses in India. She has also been the top contender in the 2023 Indian Achievers Forum in the Women of Excellence category and was nominated for her mentees for Avatar 2023 Best Mentor Award. A multifaceted personality, I must say. As a culture and transformation ambassador, she has been driving change and growth mindset across the leaders and employees through experiential programs in her company. Vidya is also a university relations champion at Kyndryl, where she has been instrumental in hiring 150 plus women engineers in 2022. She has been a keynote speaker, a motivational specialist, and a guest lecturer as well. But that's not all. She was also awarded the Woman of Substance in 2020 for a relentless contribution for breast cancer sensitization across 300 plus women every year for 5+ years through awareness and screening drives. So please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Vidya Prabhu for this webinar. Thank you, Ms. Prabhu, for sparing your time and joining us over here to discuss about gig workforce versus formal employment. What's the future?
Thank you so much.
We also have with us Captain Nagaraj Subbarao, a PhD. Captain, should we call you Captain or should we call you Dr. Nagaraj Subbarao?
No,
Because...
I think I'll stay with the Captain.
Thank you so much. Captain Nagaraj is the Dean, School of Commerce and Management Studies and Professor Leadership and Strategy at Dayanand Sagar University, Bengaluru, as well as the Dean, Strategy and Development at Dayanand Sagar University. Captain Nagaraj is a master mariner and specialized in navigation and ocean engineering. Wow. He has a PhD in organization behavior and human resource management, an MPhil and MBA in human resource management, and an advanced specialization in strategic leadership from the University of Illinois, campaign USA. Prior to his decade and a half in academia, he spent over 20 years in the Merchant Navy. Wow, Captain, that is something. And commanded the state-of-the-art ships. He is trained by Harvard University as a case teacher and received the 4th Best Case Study Award Certificate of Excellence at the All India Management Association. Well, Captain Nagaraj's resume is quite long, and he is quite a accomplished person, I must say. He has also been has been awarded in the National Case Writing Competition 2024 at New Delhi for his case study, Cultural Clash in the Cricketing Arena. Captain, your life is quite an adventure, I must say. A marina, a dean and a professor teaching students, a case writer on sports. Wow, you have diverse interests. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Captain Nagaraj Subbarao. We are really honored to have you over here today for the webinar, where students will get a lot of insights into what is the future for us. Is it a gig workforce or a formal employment?
Thank you so much, Mr. Bhattacharjee, Aman, and of course, Ms. Prabhu. Thank you for having me here, and it's a pleasure to be on this platform with you.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. So we will quickly now move on to the, so let me first give you a short rundown of, how our webinar is structured. Post this introduction, we will have a short panel discussion where we will go to discuss about the various aspects of HR, about gig workforce, about formal employment, what are the challenges, what kind of future we see, what are the challenges that the campuses are facing at the moment, and so on and so forth. After that, we will going to announce the 3 top winners across the country who has won the first top 3 cash awards for the Be Smart Award Case Study Challenge for this month, for May 2024. And then we will unveil the next month's case study challenge. Interestingly, next month's case study challenge has a very surprising award. We will come to that at the end of this webinar. So that is how it will going to unfold. So now we go on to the panel discussion with Captain Nagaraj and Mrs. Vidya Prabhu. So my first question would be to the captain. Professor, if I may ask you, what do you think should be the ideal model for organizations of the future? Because, our case study has dealt with the fact that whether it's a gig workforce or a formal employment, which we're going to see in the future, what do you think is the ideal model for the organizations of the future? Now, and especially now that AI, we have been hearing news every day almost that lots and lots of jobs are being lost to AI. On the one hand. On the other hand, there's a lot of strong debate happening that AI will also sort of create a lot of jobs. So that is there. But anyhow, there is a lot of tech innovation happening. And what we are seeing is that the regular jobs are indeed getting disrupted. Now, and we also have this gig workforce and the formal employment. So what, in your mind, is the ideal model for organizations of the future?
So thank you, Mr. Bhattacharjee. That's a really apt and interesting question. So I think, first of all, many people are already in the gig economy without realizing it. So why do I say that? So the traditional model of a career in one industry or one specialization or one domain function is sort of slowly receding into the background. Having said that, careers haven't gone away fully as yet. So if I look at myself, I've had 2 careers, one in the Navy and the other one in academia. Maybe
yes, absolutely.
People will have many more as they go ahead. So the question is about how should assuming that the gig economy is there to stay and impacting organizations, what should organizations look at? So fundamentally, and I think you sort of stated it so well in your question, that AI is becoming part of life, whether we like it or we don't like it. What are the threats that AI pose or the benefits? As far as I'm concerned, I think AI is a great enabler for many people, both in this country and worldwide as well. But how should organizations sort of approach this new paradigm? Fundamentally, they are going to have blending of, say, human enterprise and artificial intelligence. And so how do they deal with that? And what is that going to cause for employees as well as organizations? So number one, I think it's going to give both organizations and people a lot more flexibility. So some time ago, I was talking to a person at a fairly senior level in a great organization like Google. And he was telling me that just over half the employees are contract workers. And why do they have contract workers? So they don't have contract workers just in the area of, say, HR or outsourced services and so on. They also bring in contract workers who sort of flit from job to job in niche areas, which they're not able to find regular employees, or they're not able to find people in the short term for, or people say somebody has gone on leave suddenly for an extended person, say a maternity leave or some such leave. So they bring in gig workers who sort of tide over the situation for them for that moment, and then they move on. So I think we're going to have this sort of movement of people across organizations. And how do organizations deal with that and keep attracting them is going to be a challenge, one. Two, there is a fairly recent study by the Harvard Business School, which says that people staying away from organizations and working, that is, I'm talking about telecommuting or what industry calls as the flexible model of a workforce, raises anxiety levels in people who stay away from the workplace. It's very commonsensical because when you come to the workplace, you have a cohort of people, you have other people that you can talk to, you can reach out to, you can share your issues with. There is a certain sense of isolation when you're working from home. Many people look at the flexibility part of it, but this is the sort of the flip side of flexibility when you work away from the workplace. That is point number two. Point number three is when people sort of move from organization to organization in sort of fulfilling certain jobs, it takes away a certain amount of certain amount of security, which comes at the cost of flexibility. So you're not sure where your next paycheck is coming from. You're not sort of very certain whether you're going to get a job next month. So there is an inherent flexibility. And I see that if I may say so, more evident in a country like India, where we're used to careers, we're used to that paycheck coming in every month and so on and so forth, as against the West. Maybe they're a little bit more used to staying away from employment for a while and then coming back and then taking breaks and so on and so forth. So I think, briefly to summarize, we're going to have issues that industry is going to deal with in terms of how are they going to bring artificial intelligence and human enterprise together. People will have a great deal more flexibility, but that comes with a little bit of insecurity. How are they going to deal with it? Three is, if they really move into a gig model, will they be able to find people at short notice to fill in those sort of gaps that might get created because they don't have a pool of career professionals to sort of wade into when they want them, is going to be a little bit of an issue, and organizations will have to deal with it. And fourthly, and I think most importantly, today industry is very much a part of society. It is not business for business only.
Mhm.
It's business for society. And I don't see how, I think there's going to be a little bit of an impact on how employees and industry sees themselves a part of the larger societal landscape if you're going to have a lot of impermanent employees in an organization. So I think these are my four major sort of points on how organizations are going to be impacted by the gig economy.
Right. Interesting, Captain. So basically, you're saying that, there will be gig workforce. When you think of in terms of business, you say that easily, okay, they'll be cost effective. You can just get them, hire and fire kind of a thing. You have no responsibilities. They come, they go as and when you need it. You can scale up, scale down, whatever it is. It looks very easy from the outset. But when you actually deep dive into it, there are quite a few challenges that will need to be overcome, right? There will be social and behavioral issues. There will be logistical issues. And there will be issues at hand for the HR to tackle the gig workforce also, kind of, how do you sort of integrate them into your regular work, and how what you do with them, kind of. So it's very interesting. So in fact, on the social behavior part, we will probably come in a little bit later, and we'll see how we can. Yes, sorry, Captain, you were saying something.
I just wanted to add for 15 seconds that, even in my school, I have got about 45 full-time faculty. These are scholarly professors with a PhD and so on and so forth. And unlike most other schools, I have about 70 adjunct professors. These are people from industry who have been there and done that. They have been CEOs, CXOs, CTOs, and so on and so forth. And I can clearly see that I have to manage, if that's the right word, because in academia, we're all, and I'm a first amongst equals, but I have to approach both of them differently.
Yeah.
And that's the human angle of it.
Right.
And that's the emotional part of it.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah. So interesting areas of discussion actually opens up from, what you shared, Captain. Very quickly, if I can move to Mrs. Vidya Prabhu, in general, how do you see the overall job market in India evolving? Okay, especially given the fact that campus recruitments are slowing down. I mean, especially last year and this year, it has been a bit depressed. Placements are not happening the way they were expected to be. A lot of IIT and IIM placements have not happened this year. And emerging tech, again, like AI, is kind of threatening to disrupt the jobs. So, Mrs. Prabhu.
So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you very much for this opportunity. And thank you for putting me on a pedestal today with Captain's presence. I'm really honored and happy to be here and listen to him firsthand. I'm not sure if all the students know how fortunate they are to be able to listen from someone like him who knows the industry and who knows academia. I'm afraid my knowledge will be very limited to the world that I cater to, which is IT and women in technology, or women initiatives and diversity and university hiring and so on.
Yeah, but Mrs. Prabhu, I must say that, IT industry is one of the biggest attractions for jobs in India. So you come from a place where, everybody would love to hear, what is the next thing happening?
Right. So if I could add to that, all that shines is not gold. So if you're thinking that IT is a promising, brilliant career, to all the young hearts and minds here on this meeting, IT is very, very attractive, absolutely lucrative, and so on. However, it comes with a lot of disadvantages as well. Now, to answer the question on the campus recruitment, yes, I am personally engaged for my organization, Kyndryl, for the Chennai office that I belong to. We have, I drive the university relations, which means that I establish connections with universities and come up with a hiring plan and an onboarding plan and so on. And we are very different. Kyndryl is very different in the way we approach this. Unlike HRs that do that in organizations, here it's driven completely by business leaders. So you can imagine that I'm a business leader and I deal with clients in workplace every day. But this is a stretch role that I have taken, and it is to deal with university relations. So year before last, when we were given, we thought of taking in 1,000 engineers plus arts and science students across the country. And out of that, there were 200 numbers that I drove for the Chennai location. 1,000 was for India. So 200 was what I drove for India. Now, this year, do we have such numbers? No. And the reason is that it is related to the recession that we are seeing around the world. But unlike other organizations that were not able to honor all those people, we onboarded all 1,000 that we had promised. Now, what is the future that I see of campus recruitment? Everyone here, and I know the seniors that are here on the call will know that, you know, the heartbeat, if it is just stagnant like that, it means you're dead. So it has to go up and down. So the market is also like that. If you're expecting a smooth market that just runs horizontally this way, it means it's not progressing. So there will be vertical shifts, ups and downs, and that's what I've seen in my career, and everyone else would have seen as well. Similarly, this is just a phase where we are seeing a dip. It is definitely going to rise, and everyone can be positive about it. Everyone faces breaks in their career, downs in their career. You cannot have, nobody can say that I've had a progressive career right through. Similarly, for all students here who are on the verge of starting their career and who are completing their academic portion of their life, please remember that positivity and hope really, really helps. And with the recession that we are seeing now, it's almost at the, it's reaching the lag out phase. So we are almost in the last leg of that race. And we are going to see a rise, especially because everyone is talking about AI so much. Trust me, 100 years ago, mainframe was a big thing. Today, there is only our organization that supports mainframe, and we are the world leaders in that because it was manufactured by IBM and we are a spin-off. Kyndryl is a spin-off from IBM. For those of you who may not know, Kyndryl is the world's #1 IT infrastructure service provider. We are the world's biggest startup. We spun off from IBM 3 years ago, and we're 90,000 employees strong. But we are the only ones who support mainframe in the world, and that's for 100+ years. So you can imagine that if something can run 100 years, then something disruptive will come every 2, 3, 5 years, and technology will keep changing. For those of you who know Facebook, you would have used Facebook quite a bit, and you would have thought Facebook is going to stay. But that changed, and WhatsApp came in, and then now Instagram is trending, and Twitter changed its names to X. So I'm giving you examples that everything will change. AI is one such change that we have to embrace and adapt. Do not look at it as a threat. Whatever said and done, the human factor of it is irreplaceable. Let me give you that guarantee from an IT standpoint. I hope I answered your question right, Mr. Bhattacharya.
Yes, right. So particularly in India, we are at the nascent stage of the AI evolution, and of course, we will have to ride that wave, and we will have to position our careers. I mean, the students who are watching us today, they will have to see how they can sort of simultaneously sort of align their careers along with the AI revolution that is happening. Excellent.
If I may just add, I'm sorry, if I may just add, Mr. Bhattacharya,
sure,
the students of today are in a very fortunate phase. So we are in that phase where the entire world is looking up. And from an India standpoint, we are looking up at the youth of the country. So you are in that phase where you're only going to be seeing India go up the growth ladder, and you're going to contribute to it firsthand.
Right, absolutely. Thank you so much. So very quickly now, I will move back to the captain. Captain, so interestingly, you can, as we see that, you have talked about gig economy versus the gig workforce versus the formal employment. And Mrs. Prabhu has talked about, how things are actually changing on the ground in India and all. So to ask you this question, for business schools to kind of adapt to this AI evolution, to, let's say, for some time, if we do accept the fact that gig workforce will going to prevail over formal economy for some time, I mean, for business reasons or whatever, if gig economy sort of becomes a better proposition for businesses over traditional employment, how do business schools adapt their curriculum accordingly, so that students coming out of that campus are much better prepared for what holds in terms of jobs.
Thank you. And this is a question that we have been grappling with ourselves, me and my faculty colleagues. So, Mr. Bhattacharya, there is fundamentally a little confusion about the role of universities. And I say this very carefully, but several people in industry think that business schools like mine are meant to produce people who can walk into a job and perform from day one.
Right.
But traditionally, the role of a university, right from Greek times, has been to get people to think. And that is the fundamental role that universities play. So that's the fundamental role that schools like ours play, that we get people to think so that they can transition jobs, they can transition careers, they can move from place to place, and then sort of learn new skills. So fundamentally, what I'm trying to teach my students, or my faculty are trying to teach students, or what academia should actually be trying to do, is to get people to learn new things easily, unlearn and learn. And I think that's a fundamental skill that is required and that we try to sort of bring in. And today, in the really dynamic world that is changing all the time, and with all the buzzwords going around like AI, machine learning, entrepreneurship, startups, particularly like in a city like Bengaluru, something that I look forward to my students doing is to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's not just a cliche. It's very important that they learn to face discomfort. So we're just launching a new program for our students, wherein we break them into small cohorts, as an example, and then they approach several startup founders or entrepreneurs and talk to them in trying to understand their journey, their pain points, their ups and downs, their dark days as well as their success days, and how they navigated that journey. And this is what is called as dialectical hermeneutics in research, where you put yourself in somebody else's shoes and try to feel their journey. And I think it's very important for students, particularly in India, to do several things. One is to master an ability to learn by themselves. The good old days where you're going to be sitting in a class and lecture to passively by professors are gone. The professor here is a guide. He's going to sort of point a finger. We as a school or academia should be putting out students into the field, making them feel uncomfortable, putting some pressure, getting them to learn by themselves so that it becomes a habit and they can learn all the time, and definitively master new skills, like say, so be digitally literate. Today, if you are not digitally literate, you're as good as illiterate. It was like in our time, when I was growing up as a kid, if you couldn't write, you were called illiterate. And that's how it is today. Also, I think it's very important for, in a kind of a amorphous world, I think it's important to remind our students time and again, both as a business school as well as a university, that being ethical is important. Being ethical is a habit. You can't sort of wander around and assume that you can take people for a ride all the time. It's not going to work, right? And the faster they develop ethical habits and ethical behavior, I think it's good for the student, us as a school, society at large, and the country maybe. Yeah, because if you look at many of the really large scams that have occurred, they've all occurred with highly educated people. And so somewhere, I think we need to pay more attention with to how we are training our students. So, just to sort of quickly summarize, one, are there new skills to be learned? Absolutely, yes. Two, should students be more ethical and careful? Absolutely, yes. Three, how do they develop safety nets and financial security as they move into a not so stable career system, I think is required for, can they sort of learn by themselves all the time and build confidence through that learning, I think is very important. Just to give you a quick example, what I talk about confidence, and Mike, since I commanded large ships for a number of years, I pretty much felt that I could do most other jobs fairly easily. I'll figure out a way. I think that confidence is something that has to come to young people quickly. And that confidence only comes by doing difficult things. You don't become a confident person by doing easy things. So,
Correct.
And lastly, we need to develop young people. I heard Ms. Prabhu saying very eloquently about the demographic dividend that we have in this country. And, I'm all for demographic dividends, but unless we are careful and train or educate our young people carefully, they might just miss the bus. Because today, problem solving, decision making, ability to see a job through are very, very important competencies. And they just don't occur naturally. People need to sort of follow through on them. And I think that is the role of good B schools, good universities. And we are right up there. We're cognizant of the fact, we know what we are doing, and we sort of try to put out better human resources, because our eventual stakeholders are the industry as well as the country at large. And we want to put out good people there.
Right, great. Good insights. I mean, rather great insights on how the future job workers should equip themselves. So now to come back to Mrs. Prabhu, I would like to understand that when you in sectors like IT, I mean, you have in some ways you have touched upon it in your previous conversations. IT, insurance, banking, traditionally they have been the big recruiters, and as I said, earlier, that IT is one of the biggest attractions for young Indian forces to join as jobs. How does the culture of gig work, overshadow the traditional jobs? Because typically IT will need a lot of specialization, need a lot of longevity, because there will be projects at length. There will be projects where people would be working for months or years together. So my first question is, do you think that going forward, gig workforce will going to indeed largely overshadow the traditional workforce? And if it does, how will the dynamics work? How will it kind of influence the sector and, of course, the typical job market?
Okay, thank you for that question. For most of us who may know, or if we have, read any of the NASSCOM reports, I think we know that by 2030, we are looking at least 20 plus million, people being employed under the gig workforce. IT, of course, will be a huge contributor. Yes. And the reason being, not just because IT employs, more workforce than the other industries. I understand, as I engage outside of the IT community, that there are various other employees also who are looking at this gig model. But what I'd like to comment on, or something that I'd like to recommend to the young force here, is that, and I think parts of it was touched by Captain himself, is the T model of expertise. So traditionally, you would be hired for one particular skill or one particular area of expertise that you would excel in, or something that you have developed over the years. But today, that's not going to be helpful in any way. So you have to look at the T model of expertise, where you have deep expertise in one arena and you have horizontal expertise across different skills. And that is going to be something that's going to drive the gig workforce. Because if I'm going to hire someone in my team, and if I want that person to be technically qualified in one particular sector, I will not hire him because he's good, for example, at say backup and storage management. Suppose I'm looking at an engineer in that field. Only backup and storage is not going to be something that's going to be a sellable skill for that resource. He will have to have expertise that touches the other sectors of the IT infrastructure support as well, considering that I'm looking at my industry, which is infrastructure support. So similarly, for anyone in a regular employment or gig workforce employment, one has to look at the T model of expertise, which is why, if you would have seen in my introduction, that my core skill initially was learning and organization development. But I realized that I cannot sustain by just holding on to that particular skill. So I moved from that to project management, and then I moved to program management, and then I moved to technology delivery. And today I'm into global technology delivery. Plus, I am doing diversity and inclusion, university hiring, transformation as well. Now, the reason I'm doing all of this is because I need to have stability, security, sustainability, and I should be a resource who is flexible enough to adopt any role that comes my way, whether it is regular or gig format. So that's why it's going to be important for not just IT, but anyone who's aspiring in any industry to look at deep expertise, number one, a T form of expertise, number one. Number two, be prepared for horizontal, vertical, diagonal career path. So you have to look at a career path which is like a chessboard. So you have to move in any direction in order to be able to see growth. You cannot consider vertical growth as success anymore. You cannot look at a career which is going to be stable and is going to run for 3 to 5 years with the same kind of role or delivery. That's not going to happen at all moving forward. And considering that the gig workforce is going to become really common, you will have to be flexible by being able to adapt to roles, being able to adapt to market trends, and being able to adapt to industries, not just one particular industry that you get into. I think Captain already touched a part of it in his first portion, where, for example, my father worked for the same organization, retired from the same organization. Now, I have already transpired within IT between 3 organizations. With just IBM/Kyndryl, I have been here for almost 15 plus years. But I don't think a graduate hire in my organization is going to stay with me for more than 3 or 5 years. If I can retain somebody for 5 years, that's going to be my golden jubilee hit. So I think for the young minds here, look at developing T form of expertise and be open to moving your career across industries and be open to gig workforce. You have flexibility options coming your way. You have digital opportunities coming your way. You have opportunities where you need not step out from the comfort of your home. Of course, there are many do's and don'ts related to that, but you have many opportunities coming your way. So don't fear AI and don't fear the gig model. That's what I'd like to say.
Absolutely. Great. I mean, it's basically what you're saying, that, just like what we do with, let's say, a project or innovation, we constantly develop, we constantly innovate, we constantly look out for new opportunities and see, how things can be made better and better. Why should our career should be, one complacent straight path? You should constantly keep re-engineering, look at innovation, remodeling, and opportunity should be your whiteboard, where you keep on planning and doing all your strategies. Like an entrepreneur, if you had to grow your business and diversify and tap the opportunities in the market, your career should be like that. If we can sum it up like that. I mean, just being a little poetic in the sense. Thank you very much. I don't think we'll be able to take more questions, but we have one question over here, after which I will ask the panelists to just sum up their views once, and then we will move on to the next point. We have a question over here. It says, does gig economy equip the workforce to be able to appreciate the bigger picture of the business? How different? Okay, I think it has been answered. Okay, it has been answered live. Okay, great. So then we quickly
I'm sorry to interrupt. We have to answer that.
Sorry?
We have to answer that.
I didn't get you.
We have to answer that question, so it is not answered yet.
Oh, it's not answered yet, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think
I just marked it.
Okay, I kind of lost the question
So it
from
is
the
an
screen.
answered section. It is in the answered section.
It's in the answer section. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I will repeat the question again. Does gig economy equip the workforce to be able to appreciate the bigger picture of the business? How different is the role of schools going to be as we march into next decade and support the gig workforce? Who would like to take the question, please?
So maybe since it deals with academia,
Right.
take a shot at it. Yeah, I think we talked about it, and so obviously the role played by schools has to have to change enormously, particularly in India, because um, not many schools are still out of the model of a lecture. So many of them are not even, say, business schools per se, are not even into the case study model, where it's more Socratic, where the professor and the student sort of debate a particular point or a problem and try to solve it in class and so on and so forth. So that passive model of learning is passé. It's gone. It really doesn't work anymore. And schools will have to reorient themselves. If, just to mention, Mr. Bhattacharjee, here at Dayanand Sagar University, in my school, we have probably one of the largest executive MBA programs.
Okay.
I get about 500 students a year. The point is that it's bigger than the MBA program, full-time MBA program. I think people are slowly realizing that unless they get value for money, they're not going to park themselves in a university/school for 2 years if it's not going to yield some results. So business schools, like we talked about, or any university as such, is going to have to make people think, use their cognitive machinery. Repeating myself, be comfortable with ambiguity, be adaptable, be flexible, learn new things, learn new skills and competencies all the time. And like you rightly said, there are opportunities in the gig economy. There are also pitfalls for those people who are not prepared. And so you have to prepare yourself. You have to be sort of right up there with your eyes on the ball, and then, choose what stroke you're going to play fairly quickly, using a cricketing analogy. And of course, I'm sure you have played cricket yourself. So I think it's very important for people to be very, very alert and agile. And I think Ms. Prabhu mentioned it as well about
Yes.
the industry is looking for the agility, the nimbleness, the T-shaped model, the broad spectrum of learning with a deep understanding of a certain subject in a niche area. And unless they have that, I'm afraid the going is going to be a little difficult. And developing, most of all, an entrepreneurial mindset. I think that's going to be crucial as we go ahead.
Right, Captain. Thank you so much. We are just in time, but we will going to run out of time a little bit. We had one more question, but I'm sorry. In fact, there are two more questions. But since we have run out of time, we would like to assure the audience over here that we will pass on those questions to the respective panelists, and they can email those answers adequately. So quickly moving on to the next part of our webinar, where we had said that we are announcing our top 3 winners for the May case study challenge that we had. And I'm pleased to welcome on board Gadi Raju Tejaswi. She is from IIM Sambalpur. And congratulations, Gadi Raju. She has won the first position, which is a cash prize of rupees 5,000. Gadi Raju, if she is present, we would like you to say a few words very quickly, because anyway, we have run out of time.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Distinguished guests, esteemed judges, and fellow competitors, I'm Tejaswi. It is with immense gratitude and excitement that I stand before you today as a winner of BSmart case study competition. First and foremost, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the organizers and esteemed panel of judges for this incredible honor. I would like to especially acknowledge our distinguished guests today, Vidya Prabhu ma'am and Captain Nagaraj Subbarao sir. Vidya ma'am, your emphasis in tree model expertise, which combines deep expertise in one arena with horizontal expertise in a group of skills, is both timely and inspiring, ma'am. Subbarao sir, your insight into being comfortable with the uncomfortable resonated deeply with me, sir. As I build my career, these insights will undoubtedly help me in the future. My journey has been unique and diverse, beginning with a bachelor's in dental surgery. After spending an year as a clinical dentist, I felt a growing desire to expand my horizons, which led me to pursue MBA at esteemed IIM Sambalpur. This case, focusing on future of gig workforce versus formal work employment, resonated with me. The dynamic nature of gig economy presents both opportunities and challenges. My motivation to participate stemmed from a desire to explore how we can create a balanced and sustainable future that leverages the strengths of both these employment models. Throughout my journey, resources like Business Standard have been very insightful. This knowledge base has been instrumental in preparing me for various case competitions. Winning this competition is a significant milestone, but it is also a stepping stone. It has reinforced my belief in the power of interdisciplinary knowledge and importance of lifelong learning. Thank you once again, judges, organizers, and my fellow participants. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Gadiraju. Thank you so much. We call upon the next winner for the second position, which is a cash prize of 3,000. Sunaina K. She is from RNS First Grade College, Bengaluru. Sunaina, if you are here, please.
Hi everyone. I'm very grateful that I've been a part of this webinar and it was very informative. I would also like to thank the jury for considering me one among the top 3 winners, and I'm truly grateful and humbled for this token of appreciation. And my attempt at dissecting this case study was very interesting as I got to learn a lot more about the gig workers and their growth and their vital role in the growth and development of this economy. And having subscribed this Be Smart app has certainly widened my scope of knowledge and knowledge in this business world, and not just by reading news articles, and as it also engages the students through activities like polls, quizzes, and caselets. And for this exposure, I would like to thank RNS First Grade College, Dr. Sudhir Pai sir, Shekhar sir, Madhusudan sir, and Sushma ma'am. Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, Sunaina. Thank you so much. Next, I would like to call upon Sanchita Banerjee. She is from Vinod Gupta School of Management, IIT Kharagpur. She has won the 3rd position, cash prize of rupees 2,000. Sanchita.
Good evening, everybody. I'm extremely honored and humbled to be one of the winners of the Business Standard case competition. I'm a regular reader and follower of Business Standard, and I used to see that this competition takes place every month. But this particular topic, like gig economy versus the traditional employment, it really interested me, so I thought of participating into it. Throughout this competition, I delved deep into the understanding of the dynamics of the gig economy and how it contrasts with the traditional employment. I learned about the flexibility and the opportunities that the gig economy offers to the workers. On the other hand, the traditional employment offers stability and a clear career path, which remains very crucial for many people. Balancing these two models is a key to sustainable and inclusive future of work. This competition taught me the importance of adaptability and the need to constantly update our skills to stay relevant in the rapidly changing job market. I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to my senior, whose guidance and support was invaluable throughout the journey. Lastly, I want to thank Business Standard and Be Smart for organizing this competition. It has been an incredible platform. And thanks for the opportunity. And thanks for the webinar today. It was really insightful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Sanchita. So we come to the end of the webinar. We just like to announce over here, tomorrow, we are launching the new case study challenge. This is interesting and surprising in the sense because the award for this case study challenge is actually a job at Business Standard. And we thought of taking a slightly radical path in terms of the topic. So for the topic, we have chosen persuading digital-first brands to embrace print. So we would like students to sort of attempt at a case study or at, deriving at a business case of persuading a brand which is completely into digital-first investments to embrace print, because we all know that everything is moving towards digital. Print is sort of lagging or slowing down, but we would like to see how a business case can be created, because this has some context to it. We are, in fact, in the industry, particularly in India, we are seeing the print media growing instead of slowing down. It is growing healthy. So we would like to see, how a business model can be created around it. With that, we come to the conclusion of the webinar. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, the panelists, again, for sparing their time and coming in for some great insights. Thank you, the audience, for watching us as we catch up again next month.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much to the
Thank
entire
you.
team. Thank you. Have a beautiful evening. Goodbye.
Same.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.